And then she started cheating on me, running around and stuff, and I told her it was over.
What did you find out specifically?
Maybe 3 weeks after her and stuff, found out she slept with my brother.
No, he didn't.
Dating my cousin.
It was just talk. It was nothing like that. We only had, she's trying to pin this baby on me because she need help now. And then
I don't need your help. My baby's well taken care of. He's been taken care of for almost a year now.
Well, why threaten me with child support?
Because I know you ain't gonna do nothing.
If you didn't know how to love, you should have got yourself together and came to me.
So you blame me, right?
Yes, my family is a package deal. You knew father or not. You know, you treat them, your stepchildren.
We're constantly blaming.
You can already feel the tension as the session kicks off. At the beginning of the episode, Miss Anthony presents her case, asserting that Mr. Porcio initially acknowledged her pregnancy, but later denied paternity of her 8-month-old son, Matthew. This sets the stage for an emotional and contentious testimony that follows. Just when you think it's clear-cut, the story takes a twist. Buckle up, because this is just the prelude.
This is a case of Anthony versus Porcio.
Ms. Anthony, you claim you had a short-term relationship with the defendant, Mr. Porcio, who was initially excited when you told him you were pregnant. You are furious he is denying your 8-month-old son, Matthew.
Yes, Your Honor.
The courtroom is crackling with heightened drama. Mr. Porcio contests Miss Anthony's claims by stating she had admitted to relationships with other men during the conception period and accuses her of targeting him because he married someone else. Miss Anthony responds passionately, asserting Mr. Porcio has done nothing for Matthew. The stakes are high, and it's about to get even spicier.
Mr. Porcio, you say you've never taken Ms. Anthony seriously, and she herself confessed to sleeping with other men during the time of conception. You believe the only reason Ms. Anthony is pinning her child on you is because you married someone else.
Yes, Your Honor.
The atmosphere is thick with revelations and remorse. Miss Anthony admits to previously telling Mr. Porcio he was not the father during a troubled phase in their relationship. This admission illuminates the complexity of their relationship, characterized by partying and uncertainties about commitment.
I did tell him that the child was not his, but he was not in a very good place in his life. He was partying, and I was partying too, but once I found out I was pregnant, I put all those things aside.
Did you tell him he was the father at first, or that he wasn't?
Yes, he was there when I took the pregnancy.
But she told me that I wasn't the father. Her ex-boyfriend was the father, that she was pregnant before she met me.
Every word adds another layer to their stormy past. The judge probes deeper into the nature of their relationship, learning it was primarily based on intimate violence encounters without commitment or protection. This discussion includes evidence from photographs showing the couple together during the alleged conception period.
I was sitting at the bus stop. He walked up to me and asked me about one of my tattoos, and we just amazing when we were together. We didn't fight very much. We never argued.
Had mainly a party relationship with you. Like that's what our relationship consisted of. No, we didn't argue and all that. Neither one of us were ready to be in a relationship or have a child.
But it was a sexual relationship.
Yes.
Were you using protection?
No, Your Honor, we were not.
As the witness takes the stand, you can cut the anticipation with a knife. A witness, Michael Porcio, testifies, corroborating the claim that Miss Anthony had declared someone else as the father. This testimony introduces another layer of complexity, showing Miss Anthony's fluctuating statements about paternity.
But I was told from Miss Anthony herself, my husband had gone away for a couple months. I was holding down things at home. I was holding him down where he was. And I needed a little bit of help because I ran short. Called Miss Anthony. She met me down, in fact, at the very same place. Got a little couple dollars off of her, whatever I needed to get from my husband. At the time, he wasn't my husband. That is the point where Miss Anthony told me to my face, the baby is not Harold's.
That is true.
Emotions skyrocket as hidden truths are unveiled. As tensions escalate, Miss Anthony confronts her past decisions and acknowledges her mistakes. The emotional dialogue underscores her struggle with motherhood and the decisions she made under pressure.
That is true. You have to understand where I was coming from as a mother. And it was wrong of me. The decision I made was not right in any way, shape, or form. But at that point in time, I thought that I was doing what's best for my child. I thought that I was making the best decision because he wasn't ready to be a parent.
My husband can attest to this. All I want to be is a parent. Like, I've helped raise my nieces, my nephews. I've been sober for 16 months now.
That's good.
Everyone in the courtroom is on the edge of their seats for the final revelation.
Mr. Porcio, you are father.
This is the case of Barron versus Bradshaw. Can you believe we're starting off with this firecracker of a case? The episode kicks off with the dramatic introduction of a paternity dispute case between Mr. Barron and Miss Bradshaw. Mr. Barron is here, doubting he's the father of Miss Bradshaw's son Ian, despite having shelled out support for the past 25 years. The stage is set, folks, and believe me, it's about to get even wilder.
This is the case of Barron versus Bradshaw.
Good day, Mr. Barron. You are here today along with your wife to results of a long overdue paternity test. You claim that Ms. Bradshaw has been claiming you are her son, Ian's father, for more than 25 years.
You are here today along with your wife. Right from the get-go, the tension is thicker than a bowl of oatmeal. Mr. Barron and his wife are in court to finally get a DNA test result after years of financial drain and emotional turmoil. He's been supporting a kid he believes might not even be his. Strap in, because the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
Has financially drained you by forcing you to pay court for a child you believe is yours.
Yes, Your Honor.
Furthermore, you claim you will return to court to sue for $21,600 in what you say were fraudulent child support payments when you prove your paternity claim.
Yes, Your Honor.
Miss Bradshaw, you admit you've completely confused your son. Ian, wait till you hear this bombshell. Miss Bradshaw admits to spinning a web of lies about her son's father's identity over the years, but still insists Mr. Barron is the real deal. This confession sets up a domino effect of emotional revelations and fiery confrontations. The fuse is lit and the fireworks are just about to start.
Ms. Bradshaw, you admit you've completely confused your son Ian by lying to him about father's identity over the years, but you claim you believe Mr. Barron is your son's biological father. Your son will join us in a moment. You are hoping today's DNA results will finally give him his full identity.
Yes.
Why do you believe Miss Bradshaw is lying about your husband being her son's father? Talk about throwing down the gauntlet. Mrs. Barron doesn't hold back, accusing Miss Bradshaw of lying about her son's paternity, which sparks an explosive exchange that highlights the intense personal and emotional stakes involved. The drama escalates quickly, and you won't believe what comes next.
Why do you believe Ms. Bradshaw is lying about husband being her son's father?
She's a liar. I've been with him for 25 years and I don't have any children.
How 25 years when my son is 25? We were not with him at the same time.
5 years. I've been married for 13 years.
Here comes the judge, dropping the gavel like a hot mixtape. As the argument reaches boiling point, the judge steps in, showcasing the high stakes and challenging nature of resolving such deeply personal disputes in court. Buckle up, because this ride is about to take a steep dive.
The guy that I was with.
Hold on one second. Mrs. Barron, I'm trying to understand from you. Why do you believe she's lying? I mean, this has been a long-standing accusation. Your husband's been paying child support.
She's a liar. She told him that it was his child. He believed it. He took responsibility for it, and then she blames 3 different men.
Why didn't you take the DNA test, Mr. Barron? You're not ready for this twist. Mr. Barron spills the beans on his initial belief in his paternity and his subsequent disillusionment, thanks to Miss Bradshaw's antics. This bombshell underscores the hefty emotional and financial toll the dispute has taken on everyone involved. The next revelation is a doozy.
Why didn't you take the DNA test, Barron?
Because I thought it was my child. Then she started cheating on me, running around and stuff, and I told her it was over.
What did you find out specifically?
Maybe 3 weeks after and stuff. Found out she slept with my brother. Yes,
She's
you
dating
did.
his cousin.
Dating my cousin.
Stay tuned. You took your son to the grave of a deceased man that you told him was his father. You'll need to sit down for this one. In a heart-wrenching and shocking moment, Miss Bradshaw confesses to misleading her son about his father's identity by taking him to a deceased man's grave. This moment reveals the deep psychological scar her lies have left on her son. And just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, there's more to come.
Did you ever tell your son that anyone else potentially be his father?
I told him what Mike was.
Yeah, he took her to a dead man's grave and said, "This is your son."
Miss Bradshaw, I need to understand. You took your son to the grave.
Yes,
the deceased man that you told him was his father.
Yes, I did. And I was wrong. I was totally wrong for doing it.
You keep saying if he would have requested DNA, the judge isn't letting anyone off the hook easy, pointing out the missed opportunities for clarity that could have saved years of emotional and financial agony. The judge emphasizes the crucial need for honesty in these tangled matters. And guess what? The next part is even more jaw-dropping.
You keep saying if he would have requested DNA, but if you would have been honest, then he wouldn't have felt so confident.
I even told his mother and father why the father said, "I will pay for the DNA," because he knew that the chance that he might not be the father.
But he just said that he's certain that the child was his until you got back home and you were cheating.
Mr. Barron, you're very emotional as well. The stakes couldn't be higher as we edge closer to the truth. As the moment of truth nears, Mr. Barron shares his emotional turmoil and hope that Ian really is his son, highlighting the deep human element at play in paternity disputes. The verdict is almost in, and you'll want to see this.
Feeling upset. Hope he is my kid, and I just wish I could have had a life with him.
He would never pushed him away. His mother always pushed him away.
Very emotional now, and you've told your story and you've admitted to your lies, said you've apologized. Is there something you'd like to say to your son?
I'm so sorry.
Mr. Barron, you are not the father.
Well, this is quite the opener. Mr. Johnson hits the ground running with a bold declaration that he's not the biological father of Ms. Kirby's 11-month-old son, Caden. He feels wrongly accused and stressed, eagerly awaiting a DNA test that he believes will vindicate him and smooth over the troubles in his current relationship. And just when you think you've got a handle on, wait till you see what's coming next.
Mr. Johnson, you are here to prove you are not the biological father of Ms. Kirby's 11-month-old son, Caden. You claim her accusations are causing trouble in your relationship. You are certain the results will clear your name.
Yes, Your Honor.
Here's a twist for you. Ms. Kirby steps up with unwavering certainty, convinced that her son Caden was indeed conceived during her time with Mr. Johnson. She lays out the child's health challenges and pleads for Mr. Johnson to own up to his role as a father, underlining the critical support needed due to Caden's medical conditions. But hold on, the courtroom is about to turn up the heat even more.
Ms. Kirby, you are positive your son was conceived during your sexual relationship with Mr. Johnson. You say your son struggled with health issues and you need Mr. Johnson to step up a father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You won't believe this. Mr. Johnson accuses Ms. Kirby of wreaking havoc in his life by trying to pin Caden's paternity on him. He firmly denies the child is his, which sparks a fiery exchange that escalates further when Ms. Kirby drops a bombshell that Mr. Johnson had reached out to her just the day before, much to the audience's shock. Brace yourself. The drama is just getting started.
She's trying to pin a child on me that ain't mine, and she's causing problems in my current relationship.
How am I causing issues in your current relationship when you just called to me yesterday? What are you talking about, sir?
I'm not trying to keep up with you. I just wanted to know, is this really happening?
So you think she's trying to pin a baby on you?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have doubt.
Yes, Your Honor.
This part is a real tearjerker. Mrs. Kirby passionately refutes the claim that she's trying to trap Mr. Johnson with a paternity claim, emphasizing that her sole focus is to secure support for her son's significant health issues. Her emotional turmoil is palpable as she discusses the heavy burden of managing her child's health solo without the father's acknowledgement. Watch closely as the emotional stakes are about to climb even higher.
Ms. Kirby, I have to ask, are you trying to pin the baby on Mr. Johnson?
No, I'm trying to give my baby situated. He had health issues. I'm trying to see where it's coming from because it is not on my side of the family.
You're emotional already. What are you feeling right now?
Talk about a plot twist. An emotional Ms. Kirby recounts how Mr. Johnson had initially embraced the notion of fatherhood when they first met, but is now backpedaling at full speed, refusing to acknowledge their son. Her frustration and sadness are clear as she grapples with the absence of support from Mr. Johnson, who stubbornly maintains the baby isn't his. The suspense builds as we dive deeper into their tumultuous story.
We planned this baby. He told me when we first met that I was going to be his baby mama. Now that he's here, he don't want to step up. Either he step up or he step down.
And why do you have tears in your eyes?
My baby.
Yes, I told her that she was gonna be my baby mama, but
here's where it gets even more tangled. Mr. Johnson admits to having casually flirted with the idea of fatherhood initially, but now adamantly denies any serious intentions or responsibilities. This comes amid a heated debate about expectations and responsibilities. You won't want to miss what happens next as the tension in the courtroom escalates.
it was just talk. It was nothing like that. We only had, she's trying to pin this baby on me because she need help now. And then
I don't need your help. My baby's well taken care of. He's been taken care of for almost a year now.
Well, why threaten me with child support?
Because I know you ain't gonna do nothing.
Mr. Johnson, did you grow up with a father in your life?
I was premature. I was in the hospital for 6 months. While I was
now
in the hospital,
my baby have issues.
Didn't see that coming. The discussion turns to the discovery of Ms. Kirby's pregnancy, a key point in the narrative. Mr. Johnson stumbles upon the pregnancy news via social media, which leads to a series of confusions and confrontations about paternity, initially denied by Ms. Kirby before she flips the story, asserting he is indeed the father. The upcoming testimony might just turn everything on its head.
Can you tell the court how you found out Ms. Kirby was pregnant?
I was at this party and I was scrolling on social media and I seen her post something about she don't need help with her child. So I hit her up. I was like, are you pregnant? She was like, yeah. So I'm like, is the baby mine? She was like, no. I left the party and went to her house. And then she flipped the script and was saying, well, yes, you are the father.
Grab your popcorn, because here comes a crucial explanation about albinism from an expert witness. The court listens intently as the medical nature of albinism is detailed, potentially shifting perceptions about Caden's condition and its implications for paternity. The atmosphere is thick with anticipation as everyone braces for the impending DNA result reveal, which promises to be a courtroom blockbuster.
So albinism is a very rare disease. Less than 1 in 20,000 children have it, and it is the absence of pigment, both in the hair, skin, and sometimes eyes.
Through the mother, father, how does that work?
So it's both. Each parent, even though they look phenotypically or to the eyes normally pigmented, carry.
And now, for the grand finale, hold on to your seats.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Johnson, you are the father.
Can you even handle this? Ms. McKenzie accuses Mr. Guy of hightailing it out of there and abandoning her and their newborn, declaring that he's denying paternity just because he's already got a basketball team of kids. Mr. Guy stands his ground, absolutely convinced from the get-go that the baby isn't his, right when Ms. McKenzie broke the pregnancy news. You've got to see what's coming up next. It's a roller coaster.
Ms. McKenzie, you say Mr. Guy abandoned and your daughter, Anaya, soon after she was born, and denies he's her father only because already has too many kids.
Yes, Your Honor.
Guy, you say you knew this wasn't your child from the moment Ms. McKenzie said she was pregnant.
Yes, Your Honor.
What in the world did we just witness? Ms. McKenzie spills the beans on her first convo with Mr. Guy about her pregnancy, where he practically had a meltdown over the possibility of kid number 13. The audience can't help but murmur. Mr. Guy scrambles to set the record, swearing he only has 8 kids. Brace yourself, because the saga continues and it's juicier than ever.
So, Ms. McKenzie, when did you first realize that he denied he was your daughter's father?
Well, when I told him that I was pregnant, kind of like was shocked a little bit. Then she gonna be my 13th daughter. Like, how can I take care of all of them?
Her 13 kids, Mr. Guy?
Told her I had 8.
He told me he had 8, and then he said when I told him I was pregnant, he said 13.
Definitely wrong about it.
Are we in a soap opera or what? After the baby arrives, Ms. McKenzie paints a picture of Mr. Guy acting like a magician, vanishing after dropping her and the baby at home under the pretense of running an errand, and then poof, gone. She's left flying solo for months. Hang tight, because what happens next will have your jaw on the floor.
When did you realize denying your child, that he said this is not my child?
After I had her, he was at the hospital and everything. When he brought her home, he just like basically set her on the floor in her car seat. He was like, I gotta go run an errand, and he never came back. So he just left her there for like months.
You're not ready for this. Mr. Guy fesses up to dodging Ms. McKenzie's calls on purpose, calling her baby talk nothing but harassment. Yet, he's still sticking to his guns about the baby not being his, blaming his doubts on Ms. McKenzie's supposed secret rendezvous. The tension is mounting, and you won't believe what's up next.
Mr. Guy, have you been avoiding her calls all that time?
Yes, Your Honor.
Why?
She was harassing.
Harassing you about what?
Baby this, baby that.
Because
I'm
she's
like,
your baby.
That ain't baby, you know, milkman's baby, somebody's baby, but it wasn't mine.
Were you sleeping with her?
I was sleeping
Were
with
you
her.
using protection? So how do you think you're excluded from possibility?
Like when the baby was born, I was at the hospital, looked at the baby, I said, this ain't my baby.
This just keeps getting better. Mr. Guy dives into a tale about catching Ms. McKenzie in a car with another guy, which to him screamed infidelity. This only fuels his fire of doubt about fatherhood, given the shady scenario he describes. The drama's not slowing down. Wait until you hear what's coming.
One time, me and my brother pulled up. She was sitting in the car with somebody, and they was there for a while because we was sitting up there watching them.
What were they doing in the car?
I thought they was having sex.
Really?
Can I say something? That night that he's talking about, I called him and told me to come over to his house. When I got there, he was not there. So when I was leaving, my friend that lives down the street from him saw me and gave me parked by my house.
Hold on to your popcorn. Mr. Guy pokes at the nature of their relationship, implying that their flings don't mean he should step up as dad, especially with the murky details of fidelity. Ms. McKenzie claps back, spotlighting his zero contributions and dependability. You'll want to stick around because the twists keep coming.
One time I was getting off of work. They let me off work at 6 a.m. I usually get off at 7. I pulls up to the house. I looked at my phone, then looked back up, and there was a dude standing right there. I'm like, where did he come from? And I said, okay, well, it was an apartment. So he might have came out of any one of those apartments in front of our apartment. So I go in there and ask her, was somebody here? No, nobody wasn't here. But then week has passed. It's the same dude.
Who knew court could be this gripping? Ms. McKenzie's mom steps into the fray, venting about Mr. Guy's denial and his ghosting habits, leaving their granddaughter to grow up not even knowing who he is. She's had enough of his club hopping and disappearing acts. You definitely don't want to miss what happens next.
And you are Ms. McKenzie's mother.
Yes, ma'am.
Anaya, your grandchild is 3. What do you know about the situation?
I'm really upset at Miss Diane, my granddaughter. She really don't even know who he is. I'm upset with him. And I did live with them for a while. Goes to the club. He might not even come in for 2 or 3 days.
What's with all these disappearing acts?
I was stressed.
You were stressed?
Yeah, she's stressed.
Grab your tissues, folks.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Guy, you are her father.
Can you believe this twist? Mr. Moore passionately details how Mr. Taylor never recognized him as his son, neglecting him and leaving him in the harsh world of foster care after his mom identified Mr. Taylor as his father during a challenging time in juvenile hall. Mr. Moore lays out his life struggles, mentioning his inability to read or write, which he attributes to not having stable parental figures.
Mr. Moore, you claim you've known Mr. Taylor for most of your life, but he has never acknowledged you as a son, and he even left you in foster care. Ms. Everett, you say you weren't even introduced to Taylor Taylor until you were 5 years old. Then you claimed you didn't until you were sent to live with him as a teenager. But you say it went so badly, you actually ended up putting yourself in foster care.
Yes, sir.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, Mr. Taylor counters with a denial of paternity. Throwing in a birth certificate suspiciously lacks his name. He voices his long-held doubts fueled by the sudden and varied claims about his fatherhood over the years. He's setting the stage with his defense, but Mr. Moore is not backing down. Watch him bring out his own type of fireworks.
Honestly, didn't know. And then all of a sudden, he's your son. I didn't know. I did a little investigating. Do have right here birth certificate. My name's not even on it.
Because I had another dad, because my brother and them's dad that I was raised up with.
Mr. Taylor, I have to say though, if you knew there was a possibility.
You've got to see this to believe it. In a dramatic display, Mr. Moore whips out photos to showcase the uncanny resemblance he shares with Mr. Taylor. He points to their similar features, chin, nose, eyes, as irrefutable proof of their connection. The courtroom buzzes with anticipation.
Excuse me, Your Honor, I got evidence that me and this man look exactly alike.
I'd like to see your evidence,
We've been looking exactly alike since we was baby. We got the same chin, same nose, same mouth, same eyes, same hair structure, all that.
On the left, of course, is a picture of you, and on the right, a picture of Mr. Taylor.
Yes, ma'am.
And you see a striking resemblance.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just when you think you've caught your breath, Ms. Everett takes the stage. She recounts the sporadic and confusing moments Mr. Taylor popped into her life, each encounter more bewildering than the last, marked by neglect and absence. Mr. Taylor stands his ground, still wrapped in his cloak of doubt concerning his paternity due to the turbulent nature of his relationship with her mother.
Mr. Moore's mother is my sister. My sister told me that Mr. Taylor could not be the father of Mr. Moore, literally out of her mouth. Because I guess when she got pregnant, she was also sleeping with other gentlemen. She's always done that. And also I've seen gentlemen come out of her house.
Go to him and tell him Mr. Taylor is your biological father.
I can't speak on that.
Here comes the grand finale. The second round of DNA results are in, unveiling.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Taylor, you are her father.
Hold the phone. It's about to get rocky. Ms. Graves declares her marriage is more than just troubled. It's on a cliff edge of divorce drama, prompting her to sue Mr. Baker for a paternity test to prove the paternity of their 19-year-old daughter, hoping it will glue the family back together. Brace yourself for the husband's comeback.
Ms. Graves, you state your marriage on the rocks and on the brink of divorce. You're suing your husband, Mr. Paternity Test, to prove that he's your 19-year-old daughter, Vanisha's biological father. You claim you're hoping this DNA test will fix your family.
And boom, goes the dynamite. Mr. Baker lays down his doubts, revealing Ms. Graves had hinted that not one, but two other gents could be the biological father. Oh, and it's about to heat up even more from here.
Mr. Baker, you claim you're not father because your wife admitted that not one, but two other men possibly be Vanisha's biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Rewind the tape. Let's dig into the backstory. We discover the drama around their first daughter, where a DNA test showed Mr. Baker wasn't the father, planting seeds of doubt about Vanisha, the star of today's paternity question. Hang tight, the emotional roller coaster is just picking up speed.
We had a DNA for my first daughter. It was 22 years ago. He took care of her for a whole year. I was always honest. I always told him there was a possibility for her as well. You know, I was loose back then. You know, it is what it is.
So you feel like that's our problem?
You're saying 22 years ago you had a daughter.
Yes.
For a year he thought it was his biological daughter.
Yes.
You can almost cut the tension within. The court probes how Mr. Baker's lingering doubts and past DNA drama color his relationship with Vanisha, stirring the pot in their already turbulent family life. Guess what? The fireworks are just about to start.
Our marriage is having problems. Just like he stated before, he doesn't know how to love. That's a problem. Why did you marry me if you didn't know how to love? You should have got yourself together and came to me.
So you're blaming me, right?
Yes, my family is a package deal. You knew father or not. You know, you treat them, your stepchildren.
We're constantly blaming.
Let's dive deeper, shall we? Ms. Graves doesn't hold back, confronting Mr. Baker about his past lapses and current responsibilities, which he struggles to fully accept, highlighting the raw emotions at play. Fasten your seatbelts. There's more turbulence ahead.
I mean, we're separated right now. I went to my mom's house for 2 weeks to clear my mind. I have terminal cancer. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even know how to treat me bad. He's not passionate. He cussed me out, you know, chemo, and right before I do the chemo, we're arguing, and my blood shot through the roof.
Blame on me, though.
Yes. Where's your compassion? I'm your wife.
Baker.
Grab your popcorn. Here comes the big reveal.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Baker, you are not her father.